Odysseyers, Mike Martin's here with the Mike Martin channel. Thanks for joining me, being part of the channel, subscribing, liking, and watching Mike and the Night on Odyssey. Okay, I have a story and a half I want to share with you guys. It's a few days old. It's a week and a half old. Well, it's a week and a few days old, but I need to share this with you guys. It's from our friends over at True North. So here it is. True North, don't forget to support them, guys. They're a really good media publication that really works hard to get the truth out there. 60% of Canadian parents worried they won't be able to feed their families. Now, this is important because if you go back to the history on this channel, on our channel here, we got, let's see if I could find here from a few years ago. Let's see what I got here. Yeah, I did this one here, $160 get you flagged for food manufactured shortage. So keep an eye on this one. This is going to happen, that they're going to start actually keeping tabs on people that buy X amount of food, right? Food shortages have begun. That's a year ago. Let me see if I could find something. Here we go. $185 worth of food, what it buys you. I went through that. That was 3 years ago. Food to skyrocket by 2021 by 830%. 4 years ago, and I don't think I'm off on that when it comes to that pricing, and that was from 4 years ago. I don't think anyone even saw this video, but it's there, you know, I'm there. So yeah, price of oil drop, but food prices go up. Yeah, go figure. The price of food went up 5-6 years ago because the price of oil was at 140, 150 bucks a barrel. Sorry, 120 bucks a barrel. I'm sorry, 140, 150 Canadian. If you guys remember 5-6 years ago when oil was just skyrocketing. So the price of food just kept gradually going up because the price of transportation and the price of fabrication and the price of producing and all this crap needs to be involved in the pricing. But then price of oil dropped. It's less with 22, 23 bucks a barrel US 5 years ago, if you remember that. When it dropped, the price of food continued to go up. What's with that, right? So that's how we've been so there it is. It's been going on for years here on the channel. So I kind of wanted to throw that. There was a couple of good ones I did. Price of food from 3 years ago, classic rewind. And this is a video from my old YouTube channel that got taken down when I used to have about 30,000 subscribers. And I found it in my vault. But anyways, so what is going on? Well, here it is, guys. This is important. A new poll indicates that inflation and the rising cost of living is a top priority for Canadians as they face the prospect of being able to provide for their families. So let's link up to their link here and see where that goes. And it goes to a global news. Parents worried of putting food on the table as inflation soars. Ipsos poll. So they're actually getting this from a mainstream media source here in Canada that I think is funded in full by the federal government. Not True North. True North is independently funded and supported by local Canadians. So there it is. According to Ipsos poll commissioned by Global News, 78% of Canadians say that the inflation crisis is top priority. When it comes to Canadian parents, 60% of those polled with children under the age of 18 say they fret about not having enough money to feed their families. In comparison, only 40% of Canadians overall said the same thing. The people are going to be really slapped around by what's going on with inflation and the rising costs of living. And those are very precarious members of the younger population who are trying to break into more stable jobs, Ipsos Public Affairs CEO Darrell told Global News. They're having a difficulty paying very expensive real estate in our major cities and also struggling with even starting and raising families. This things that we used to take for granted. So there it is right there. So, and then if you go, let's go back, do a channel search. Oh, guys, by the way, last night's Mike in the Night with no audio, we have no audio streaming, so people go to Odyssey. With no audio got removed. With no audio got removed. So I just want to let you guys know if you want to catch Mike in the Night episode 400 on Odyssey, it's there. So let's do this live. Let's do a live search here. So let's type in inflation. Let's see what we were predicting like many years ago. Inflation will be the death of us. Morning coffee with Mike. That's 5 months ago. That's not even old. Let me see if I can find stuff that are 2 years ago. Mentality inflation. Let me see what I have here. Yeah, we were picking up on inflation. Let me see if I have anything here. 3 years ago. New Zealand housing costs lead to annual 1.5% inflation. Canadian consumer prices make biggest crash. And that's 1 year ago, if you guys remember. Wow, there's nothing really going that old on the channel from... 5 years ago. Vancouver housing, what a ripoff. But it goes to housing, right? Whose fault is it anyway? Let me see if we got any inflation stuff here. Housing disaster in 2015. Lower income 6 years ago. Here we go. Wage stagnates. That's from 6 years ago. Slave wages. So a lot of the lingo comes from this channel that you see around all over YouTube, by the way. Massive food shortage, prices up. I already did that one. So usually when we talk inflation on this, Sydney house prices overvalued by 50%. So auto insurance spike, people leaving the city 4 years ago. Yeah, this was something that was happening for a long time now. So let's get back to this and see what's happening. The survey conducted between November 12 and November 15, 2021 included a sample of 1,001 Canadians over the age of 18. According to the poll, those most likely to struggle with concerns about feeding their family were from Alberta. So Alberta's the last, I think, Alberta, and I don't know Nova Scotia anymore, but I know Alberta, and I think Halifax are still affordable places to move to, and Manitoba, I think, and Saskatoon. But everywhere else is pretty much out of reach for most. Overall, 54% of Albertans were worried about being able to feed their families. In comparison to 49% of Quebecers had similar concerts, 48% of people in Atlantic Canada, followed by 44% in Saskatchewan, Manitoba, 40%, in Ontario, 38% in BC. Alberta was in a very economical, precarious position well before anything that's happened right now, so people are already attuned to be fearful of things change in the economy, said Bricker. So you guys remember when the Biden administration took office on the first day, they shut down the pipeline because they want to go green, and they're always looking for ways to try to appease both sides, but unfortunately that's not going to work, because if you can't have a private sector, the private sector can't get taxed, and then there's no public sector to fund. Wait a minute, we'll just print off more money. And this is the inflationary issues we're having, is governments are spending more than what they're making, and we are in a very precarious situation. This is going to get worse, a lot worse, before it gets better. I remember making a video 6 years ago. I don't know if it's on this YouTube channel or the one that got deleted, but where I basically said that that the price of food is now surpassed what I pay for rent, right? This is what I had a family of 4. Now I have my wife, my 3 kids, and my mom that I take care of. So the price of food now is expensive. I do live in a smaller town. Food it's not too bad. I mean, I go shopping, it's not too bad. In Vancouver, it was very expensive in comparison. If you want to buy quality, good food, that's the thing, right? Here, the farmers markets help balance out the price of, or the cost of the food, kind of has to meet a medium price, because there's a lot of farmers markets here in the spring and summer. I could just drive around here on these back roads. I could find all kinds of peppers, jalapenos, tomatoes, corn, like everything I could possibly, and meat. There's tons of meat here, so I'm not too worried in my strategic position where I am here. Yeah, we got flooding, but look at it today. You see, I like Merritt, and the reason why I really like Merritt is because it actually has 4 seasons. We have 4 seasons here, and it's gorgeous. It's like plus 18 centigrade today. It's December 2nd, but if you go on the news, it probably tells you it's -9 now, which is, I'm thinking for years now, that the weather people always lie about the weather to prevent people from moving around. That's something I've always wondered, or I've always discussed. But it is a gorgeous day here in beautiful Merritt, British Columbia. And it's, I don't know, like plus 17, plus 18. Gorgeous. Have my front door open in my store here for customers to come in. Guys, speaking of customers to come in, go to mtg.toys. That's the URL, mtg.toys. Go ahead and support me if you can and buy a board game. This is one of the worst winters, or sorry, Christmases. Winter's not for another 3 weeks. It's one of the worst Christmases in retail sales, I think, ever. Last year was pretty good, even though the food BS was going on. But yeah, last year was really good. And right now, it's been pretty hard. So if you want to support us, get a game, play with the family. roll some dice, move some pawns around, build your castle, whatever you want to do. Support us here. Price of food, it ain't no joke, guys. I want to make as many videos as possible to warn people. Guys, don't forget to check us out for Mike in the Night only on Odyssey, because we can't even exist on YouTube anymore when it comes to telling the truth. God bless. Mike Martin's here. Thank you, True North, for the article and for covering this important matter. I have spoken.